You know what amazes me most about success? It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not even luck. What amazes me most is how often people stop just inches from victory. They work, they sweat, they sacrifice, and then they quit right before the miracle happens. The difference between those who make it and those who don't often comes down to one simple quality: persistence. That's right. The willingness to stick with something long after the excitement of the beginning has faded away. I've watched thousands of people over the years. Some started with every advantage: money, connections, education. Others started with nothing but a dream and determination. And you know what separated the winners from the losers? The winners simply refused to give up. You see, life will test you. That's guaranteed. It will knock you down, confuse you, frustrate you, and sometimes make you wonder if you're on the right path at all. But here's the secret: life tests everyone this way. The only question is, will you be one of the few who keeps going when everyone else heads for the exit? Success is not complicated. It's simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. If it were easy, everyone would have it. The path to success is littered with people who stop trying. Your opportunity lies in the space they leave behind when they quit. Here's a thought that might change your life. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but dramatically underestimate what they can accomplish in 5 years. The magic isn't in short bursts of effort. It's in showing up day after day, especially on the days you don't feel like it. That's what we're going to talk about today. How to be the person who doesn't give up. Not just for a day or a week or a month, but for as long as it takes to get where you want to go. Let's start with understanding the power of persistence. What makes it such a valuable quality? Why does it matter more than talent or luck or even connections? First, persistence creates momentum. When you keep moving forward, even with small steps, you build energy. It's like pushing a boulder. At first, it hardly moves despite your greatest effort. But once it starts rolling, it gets easier. Eventually, that boulder rolls with such force that nothing can stop it. Your success works the same way. Second, persistence weeds out the competition. Most people simply will not stay the course when things get tough. They look for easier paths. When you stick with your goal through difficulty, you face less competition the further you go. The rewards get bigger, while the crowd gets smaller. Third, persistence allows time for growth. Nobody becomes an expert overnight. Nobody builds a fortune or a fulfilling life in a week. By staying with something, you give yourself time to learn, to improve, to become the person capable of achieving what you set out to do. For persistence sends powerful signals to others. People notice determination. They respect it. They're drawn to it. Doors open for those who demonstrate they're serious about their path. Opportunities come to those who have proven they won't waste them. Fifth, persistence creates personal power. Each time you face a challenge and refuse to give up, you grow stronger. You develop confidence. You build character. These qualities serve you in every area of life. Now, why do people give up? Understanding this might help you avoid the same. Some people quit because they expected quick results. They wanted overnight success, but real achievement rarely works that way. It takes time. The problem isn't the pace. It's the unrealistic expectation. Others quit because they focus too much on the gap between where they are and where they want to be. The distance looks too great, but they forget that success isn't about leaping across chasms. It's about building bridges one plank at a time. Many people abandon their goals because they listen to critics. Someone tells them they can't do it, or they're foolish for trying, and they believe it. Remember, critics are often just people who gave up on their own dreams. Why would you take advice from them? Some quit because they haven't connected their daily actions to their deeper purpose. When you know why you're doing something, when it matters at a soul level, you find strength to continue even when it's difficult. Others give up because they're trying to do too much alone. We all need support. We all need encouragement. No one succeeds in isolation. Finding the right people to walk alongside you can make all the difference. Many abandon their path simply because they haven't prepared for the middle. The beginning of any worthwhile venture is filled with excitement. The end brings the reward. But the middle The middle is where the real work happens and where most people lose heart. A surprising number of people quit because of small setbacks. They interpret normal obstacles as signs they should stop. But obstacles aren't stop signs. They're guidelines. They tell you what needs to be solved, not that you should surrender. Some give up because they're not seeing progress. But progress isn't always visible day to day. It's like watching a child grow. You don't notice the changes if you see them every day, but leave for 6 months and come back. The difference is obvious. Success works the same way. So how do you develop the mental toughness to keep going when everything in you wants to quit? Start by managing your self-talk. The conversation you have with yourself is the most important one you'll ever have. When that voice inside says, "This is too hard," or "I can't do this," challenge it. Replace those thoughts with better questions. How can I make this work? What's one small step I can take right now? Next, focus on process over results. Results can take time to show up, but the process is something you can control today. Did you do what you said you would do? Did you put in the work? Did you keep your commitments to yourself? If you mind your disciplines daily, the results will eventually take care of themselves. Remember to celebrate small wins. Don't wait until you reach the final goal to feel good about your efforts. Find victories along the way. Each small success builds confidence for the bigger challenges ahead. Learn to separate discomfort from pain. Discomfort is temporary. It's the feeling of pushing beyond your comfort zone. Pain is a warning signal that something's wrong. Many people treat discomfort like pain and use it as an excuse to stop. But growth happens in discomfort. Learn to welcome it. Develop routines that don't depend on motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what carries you through. Create systems that make it easier to keep going even when you don't feel like it. Practice resilience deliberately. Don't just react to setbacks, prepare for them. Ask yourself, what might go wrong here? How will I respond when it does? Having a plan makes you less likely to quit when obstacles appear. Remember that persistence doesn't mean blindly beating your head against a wall. Sometimes it means being flexible about your approach while staying committed to your destination. If one path is blocked, find another. The goal isn't to walk a particular road. It's to reach your destination. One of the most powerful forces in human achievement is what I call the compound effect. Small, consistent actions, repeated over time, create remarkable results. Think about it this way. If you improved just one each day, by the end of a year, you'd be 37 times better than when you started. Not 365 better, 3,700 better, because the gains compound, but this only works if you don't give up. The trouble is, we often don't see the compounding at work in the early days. It's like saving money. Put $100 in an investment account, and the next day it might earn a few cents. Hardly noticeable. But keep adding to it year after year, and eventually the interest earned in a single day might exceed your entire initial investment. Success works exactly the same way. Your efforts compound, your knowledge compounds, your skills compound, your network compounds. Most people overestimate what they can do in a single day, leading to frustration. Then they underestimate what can be accomplished over years of consistent effort, leading to unnecessary surrender. The key is patience combined with persistence. I've seen this play out countless times. Someone starts a business, works hard for 6 months, sees little return, and quits. Meanwhile, their competitor stays with it for 5 years and builds something remarkable. The difference wasn't ability. It was simply a willingness to allow time for the compound effect to work its magic. The same principle applies to relationships, health, learning, any area where excellence matters. Small positive actions may not show results immediately, but over time they create tremendous value. Here's another crucial point about not giving up. You must learn to see failure differently. Most people treat failure as a judgment, a sign they're not good enough or their idea wasn't valid. Successful people treat failure as information, valuable feedback that helps them adjust their approach. Thomas Edison famously made thousands of unsuccessful attempts before creating a working light bulb. When asked about his failures, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of someone who refuses to give up. Every failure contains lessons that can help you succeed next time, but only if you're willing to look for them. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can this teach me?" Remember that failure is an event, not a person. You haven't failed until you quit. Until then, you're still learning, still growing, still moving forward, even if the movement isn't visible to others. The most successful people in any field have usually failed more than the average person has even tried. Their secret isn't avoiding failure, it's persisting through it. Think about a toddler learning to walk. They fall down constantly, but they never conclude, "Maybe walking isn't for me." They get up and try again day after day until they master it. What if we approached our goals with the same determination? Your habits will either support your persistence or undermine it. Let's talk about creating routines that help you stay the course when things get tough. First, create a morning routine that sets the right tone. How you start your day often determines how resilient you'll be when challenges arise. Take time for reflection, for reviewing your goals, for feeding your mind with positive input. This creates a foundation for persistence. Second, build regular renewal into your schedule. Persistence doesn't mean working nonstop until you collapse. That's a recipe for burnout. Instead, work in focused intervals, then take time to rest and recharge. You'll go further by working in a sustainable rhythm. Third, develop the habit of completing what you start, even in small matters. Follow-through is a muscle that gets stronger with use. When you make promises to yourself and keep them, you build self-trust. This becomes crucial when larger challenges test your commitment. Fourth, create accountability structures. Find someone who will hold you to your word, who will check on your progress, who won't accept your excuses. Sometimes the difference between giving up and breaking through is knowing someone else is watching. Fifth, track your progress. Keep a journal or a chart that shows your consistent efforts. On days when you feel like quitting, look back at how far you've come. This perspective can provide the motivation to continue. Sixth, surround yourself with reminders of your why. When the work gets difficult, you need quick access to your deepest reasons for pursuing this goal. Put up pictures, quotes, or symbols that reconnect you to your purpose. Seventh, create a habit of continuous learning. The more you know about your field, the more tools you have to overcome obstacles. Often people give up because they run out of ideas. Stay curious, stay hungry for knowledge, and you'll find solutions where others see only problems. The people around you will either fuel your persistence or drain it. Your environment always wins in the long run. Let's talk about creating the right circle of influence. On the other hand, if you spend time with resilient, determined individuals who keep going despite difficulties, their example will inspire and strengthen you. Their success becomes evidence that persistence pays off. Look carefully at your current associations. Do they believe in the power of persistence? Do they encourage you when you face setbacks? Do they hold you to high standards? If not, you may need to make some difficult decisions. Sometimes the price of success is creating some distance from people who, however well-meaning, hold you back through their own limited thinking. This doesn't mean abandoning friends or family. It means being intentional about where you get your advice, who you share your dreams with, and whose example you follow. Seek out mentors who have already achieved what you're working toward. Their guidance can save you years of trial and error. Their stories of persistence can provide a blueprint for your own journey. Join masterminds or groups of like-minded strivers. There's enormous power in being part of a community dedicated to growth and achievement. When your resolve weakens, their collective strength can carry you through. Remember that books, courses, and recordings also constitute part of your environment. Fill your mind with the wisdom of great thinkers and doers throughout history. Let their ideas shape your thinking. Your ability to persist is directly connected to how you set goals. let's explore how to create goals that naturally sustain motivation over the long haul. First, make sure your goals are truly your own. Many people give up because they're chasing someone else's definition of success. If your heart isn't in it, persistence becomes torture rather than triumph. Second, create both outcome goals and process goals. Outcome goals define what you want to achieve. Process goals define what you'll do daily to get there. When you focus too much on outcomes, distant milestones can be discouraging. Process goals keep you engaged with immediate actions you can take today. Third, break big goals into smaller milestones. Climbing a mountain happens one step at a time. Each milestone you reach provides evidence of progress and fuel for continued effort. Fourth, write your goals down and review them regularly. The act of writing clarifies your thinking. Regular review keeps your goals at the forefront of your mind, making them more likely to influence your daily decisions. Fifth, connect your goals to your core values. When goals align with what matters most to you, persistence becomes natural rather than forced. You're not just chasing an achievement. You're expressing who you truly are. Six, create both push goals and pull goals. Push goals are about moving away from what you don't want, like financial struggles or poor health. Pull goals are about moving toward what you do want, like freedom or vitalize. Both types of motivation help when the journey gets difficult. Seventh, set goals that stretch you but remain within the realm of possibility. Goals that are too easy won't engage your full capabilities. Goals that seem impossible can lead to discouragement. The sweet spot is challenging but achievable with persistent effort. Let's talk about personal responsibility. Without it, persistence loses its power. Taking full responsibility means acknowledging that your results are primarily created by your choices. External factors matter, of course. Circumstances can make things easier or harder. But ultimately, your response to those circumstances determines your destiny. When you embrace this level of responsibility, excuses lose their appeal. You stop blaming other people, bad luck, or unfair conditions for your setbacks. Instead, you ask, what can I do differently? How can I adapt? What's my next move? This mindset is liberating. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances, you become the author of your story. Even when faced with genuine obstacles, you focus on what's within your control rather than what isn't. Personal responsibility also means honoring your commitments to yourself. Many people will move heaven and earth to keep promises to others, but break promises to themselves without a second thought. They skip workouts, abandon learning projects, or give up on business ideas at the first sign of difficulty. Treat commitments to yourself with the same seriousness you bring to commitments to others. Your word to yourself should be unbreakable. This self-trust becomes the foundation of persistence. Remember that responsibility includes how you interpret events. When faced with a setback, you can see it as proof that you're on the wrong path, or you can see it as a necessary part of the journey. One interpretation leads to surrender, the other to renewed determination. Choose your interpretations carefully. The meaning you assign to events shapes your willingness to continue despite difficulties. Let me share some stories of persistence paying off, because sometimes we need examples to fuel our own determination. Just consider the case of a young salesman who faced rejection after rejection. He kept meticulous records of his calls and noticed that he made a sale approximately once per every 30 contacts. Instead of becoming discouraged by the no answers, he began to welcome them, knowing each one brought him closer to the next yes. His persistence turned rejection into a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block. I know a woman who started a small bakery in her kitchen. For 3 years, she woke up at 4 a.m. to bake before her regular job. She sold at farmers markets on weekends, often driving hours each way. Many times, she wondered if the sacrifice was worth it. Her friends suggested she was working too hard for too little return. But she kept at it, refining her recipes, building a loyal customer base. In year 4, a local newspaper featured her bakery. Within months, she had secured funding for a storefront, quit her day job, and started hiring staff. Today, her products are sold in stores across 3 states. Had she listened to the doubters or given in to fatigue, she would still be dreaming instead of doing. Or think about the small business owner who survived 5 years of minimal profits because she believed in her vision. While competitors came and went, she refined her offering, built relationships with customers, and gradually established a reputation for excellence. In year 6, her business suddenly took off. Those who had quit early watched from the sidelines as she built a thriving enterprise. I remember a writer who received 126 rejection letters before finding a publisher for his first book. That book went on to sell millions of copies and launch a successful career. Had he given up after rejection number 50 or 100, his talent would have remained hidden from the world. Consider the case of an immigrant who arrived with nothing but determination. He worked multiple jobs, saved every penny, educated himself in the evenings, and eventually started his own company. Today, he employs hundreds of people. His secret wasn't exceptional talent or lucky breaks. It was simply refusing to surrender. There was an athlete who failed to make his high school team. Instead of accepting that outcome as final, he practiced on his own every morning before school and every evening after dinner. He found a coach who believed in him and followed every instruction precisely. When other kids were hanging out or watching TV, he was training. The next year, he not only made the team but became a starter. By senior year, he was team captain and received a college scholarship. His talent hadn't drastically changed. His persistence had created new possibilities. I know a teacher who started an after-school program for struggling students. The first year, only 5 children participated. The school administration questioned whether it was worth the resources. Some parents were skeptical. Fellow teachers suggested he was wasting his time, but he saw potential where others saw problems. He refined his methods, recruited volunteers, and kept showing up with enthusiasm even on difficult days. By year 3, his program had grown to 50 students with a waiting list. Test scores improved dramatically. Children who had been labeled problem students were now thriving. The program now serves as a model for other schools in the district. His persistence changed countless lives. Think about the small business that launched just before an economic downturn. While competitors slashed quality to cut costs or closed their doors entirely, this company maintained its standards even though it meant operating at a loss. They communicated honestly with customers about their challenges. They kept their best employees even when it would have been easier to let them go. When the economy recovered, they emerged stronger than ever with a reputation for integrity that money couldn't buy. Their persistence during tough times created a foundation for long-term success. These stories share a common thread. Ordinary people who achieved extraordinary results through uncommon persistence. None of them knew for certain their efforts would pay off. They simply decided to keep going when others would have quit. What about you? What might be possible in your life if you simply refuse to give up? What dreams could you achieve through persistent effort over time? The great tragedy in life is not failing. It's giving up on something that, with a little more time and effort, could have succeeded brilliantly. Think of all the books unwritten, businesses unlaunched, relationships unhealed, and achievements unrealized because someone stopped too soon. Don't let that be your story. Let me leave you with some final thoughts about becoming a person who doesn't give up. Persistence is a choice you make moment by moment, day by day. It's rarely a single dramatic decision. More often, it's thousands of small choices to keep going when stopping would be easier. The world tends to make way for people of determined persistence. Dark doors open, opportunities appear, help arrives, often from unexpected sources. There's something almost magical about unwavering commitment that seems to draw success toward you. Remember that your greatest growth happens during the hardest parts of the journey. The person you become through persistent effort is a reward in itself, regardless of whether you achieve your original goal. Don't compare your middle to someone else's end. When you're in the midst of your struggle, it's easy to look at others who have already succeeded and feel inadequate. Remember, you're seeing their finish line, not the years of persistence that preceded it. Keep your sense of humor as you persist. Laugh at setbacks. Find joy in the journey. Determination doesn't have to mean grim struggle. The most effective persistence has a lightness to it, a sense that challenges are interesting rather than overwhelming. Understand that persistence isn't just about getting what you want. It's about becoming the kind of person who deserves what you want. The qualities you develop through persistent effort, discipline, courage, resilience, make you worthy of success. Consider too that persistence creates possibilities you cannot see from where you stand today. Most people give up because they can't see the path all the way to their goal. But persistence itself creates the path as you go. Each step forward reveals new opportunities, new connections, new ideas that were invisible before you took that step. Notice how often in life the breakthrough comes right after the darkest moment. So many success stories include that critical point where everything seemed hopeless, where giving up seemed the only reasonable option. Yet those who pushed through that final barrier found the rewards waiting just on the other side. The darkest hour truly does come just before the dawn. Think also about the message your persistence sends to those around you, especially the younger ones watching your example. When you refuse to give up despite difficulties, you teach without words. You demonstrate what's possible through determined effort. Your persistence inspires others to find their own courage. Remember that history belongs to the persistent. Look around at any significant achievement. Great art, successful businesses, medical breakthroughs, social progress. And you'll find people who simply refuse to accept failure as final. They kept going when logic suggested they stop. Their persistence changed what was possible. Understand too that persistence doesn't always mean doing more of the same. Sometimes it means trying new approaches while keeping the same goal. The persistent fisherman doesn't keep casting in the same spot if the fish aren't biting. He moves to new waters, tries different bait, adjusts his techniques. What matters is the commitment to the outcome, not rigid adherence to one particular method. Realize that persistence separates the professionals from the amateurs in any field. Amateurs work when they feel motivated. Professionals keep showing up regardless of feelings. Amateurs quit when the path gets difficult. Professionals understand that difficulty signals you're on the path to mastery. Choose the professional mindset. Finally, remember that giving up is easy. Anyone can do it. But persistence is rare. Persistence makes you exceptional. Persistence turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Be that person who doesn't give up. Be that uncommon individual who stays the course when others flee. Be the one who understands that most worthwhile achievements take time, effort, and unwavering commitment. Your persistence today creates your success tomorrow. It's that simple and that profound. So what will you choose? Will you be among the many who start but don't finish? Or will you join the rare few who persist until success becomes inevitable? The decision is yours. Choose wisely. Your future is watching.